Hi, everybody. Welcome. This is the open evening or open event for the MSc Bioscience Futures Communication, Innovation and Entrepreneurship. So I am Professor Sarah Rankin and I am the director of this program. Joining me this evening, we have the co-director for the program, Anne Burke-Gaffney. Hello. She's in the background there. And Rajman, the teaching fellow.
Hello.
And Ben Mumby Croft, who is also helping us develop and deliver this master's course, which makes it very unique because Ben is actually the director of the Enterprise Lab. So I'm going to hand over now to Ben, and he's going to give you an overview of what the course is all about and why we developed it, etc. While you're listening, feel free to put any questions in the chat, or at the end of the talk, we will open the floor up for any of your questions. So either raise your hand if you want to ask a question or put it in the chat, whichever you feel comfortable with. Okay, so I'm handing over to Ben now.
Brilliant. Thanks, Sarah. Hi, everyone. Great to see you all. You're all guinea pigs this evening. This is the first time we've given this particular presentation, so I'm really interested to see how it goes. Really looking forward to getting your feedback. So today's session, just to give you a sense of the agenda, so introduce the course leaders. You've quickly got a sense of some of the people on this call. Talk about why we've created the course, who it's for, why we've designed it, or how we've designed it, what you'll learn, how we're going to teach the course. Look at where you can go with this course, look at how to apply, and then finally you get the opportunity to ask us all kind of questions. So course leaders, you've already met Sarah. So Professor Sarah Rankin, Dr. Anne Burke-Gaffney, two course co-directors, the instigators in chief of this amazing new course, who both have years of experience in research and teaching and a passion for sort of science advocacy at Imperial College London. The course also brings together a collection of, or a blend of experts who sort of uniquely have experience in bioscience, but also in the world of enterprise, of commercial real world experience. So just a selection of some of our teachers and experts. Their experience includes working in big bioscience or pharma, commercializing research in a university setting, intellectual property, launching spin-out companies, training entrepreneurs, something that we major on in the Enterprise Lab, public policy, science communication, and sort of futures and forecasting. So a really unique, dynamic blend of experts all around this area of kind of bioscience, innovation, entrepreneurship, and communication. Why have we created this course? I think you should always start with why, not what are we doing and how are we doing it, but why are we doing this? And I think really, going back to something that struck us when we talked about this a couple of years ago now, probably, Sarah, around, we want to empower students, or empower students with bioscience, biomedical science backgrounds to become the next generation of bioscience innovators, leaders, and change makers. So yes, we want people who are sort of technically good and expert, but we really want to think about how can we give you the skills that you need to really make a difference and to really make change in the world of bioscience and biomedicine. So who is this course for then? Who did we design it for with that sort of vision or mission in mind? So I guess at a high level, students with a passion for bioscience, but beyond laboratory research. Yes, so this isn't necessarily for students who want to go on and have a career or spend the next 10, 15, 20 years in a research lab. You've got a first degree in sort of biosciences, but you're really interested in how you develop your career beyond or outside the lab. So it might be in terms of communication, in terms of commercialization, but really thinking about, for those of you who've had that grounding in bioscience, but you're not sure that a research career is ultimately where you want to go next. And also it's anybody with equivalent experience. Yeah, so maybe you left school early, but you've worked for a number of years in the biotech industry, and you want to now build on that with a qualification at Imperial to unlock the next stage of your career. So that's really what we had in mind when we created this. So as I said, you kind of probably don't want to spend the immediate future, working as a researcher, we definitely want creative, independent thinkers, yeah, who are kind of happy to work in a team and are really passionate about coming up with ideas, exploring ideas, experimenting with ideas, and ultimately trying to bring ideas to life. And also people with a kind of growth mindset. So people who want to improve, who are happy to try and test new things. Also, I think it's worth stating, even if it's like we are recruiting a diverse cohort, and this is something that goes absolutely to the heart of what we do at the Enterprise Lab. You know, great minds don't think alike. You know, the best cohorts, the best entrepreneurial teams come from all different kinds of backgrounds, all different in terms of ethnicity, gender, mindset, subject. So we're really looking for as diverse a cohort of individuals as possible. In the Enterprise Lab, we certainly don't see entrepreneurs as just a certain type of individual. Anybody can be entrepreneurial. Anybody can discover the entrepreneur within themselves and do it in a way that's authentic to them. So we're definitely looking for a diverse cohort, and we encourage everyone to apply. How has it been designed? Here's a series of boxes that give you a sense of how roughly the 3 terms break down. So term number 1, really starting at, I guess this is the foundational term. So innovations in bioscience. So really looking at the process of commercializing bioscience within a university. Ideation entrepreneurship, that's module 3. Module 2, communication for impact. So communication is a key skill. And then module number 3, which I'll be leading, which is all around like coming up with ideas and then working out how do I take an idea and actually start to transform or translate it into some kind of commercial venture. And then in modules 2, or in terms 2 and 3, we build on that. So term 2, developing sustainable ethical business, like looking at futures and foresights, so looking at how do we sort of predict and plan and create the future we want to see. Entrepreneurship in practice, which is really doing a deep dive on your own idea and genuinely developing a pitch deck and a business plan for that. And then term 3, looking at doing sort of work placement. So a really interesting mix and blend of modules. If we just kind of just break that down, I'm not going to go through the whole degree program because we'll be here for the rest of the evening, but if we just look at that in a little bit more detail. So module 1, taught by a good colleague of mine, Dr. Vieira, and now I realise that I only ever call Vieira because I can't pronounce her surname, which is outrageous. I apologise. Vieira is awesome. She can't be here this evening, unfortunately, in which case she'd be taking me to task. But essentially, it's learning about the world of technology transfer and commercialization in a university setting. So looking at things like university innovation ecosystems, how you fund research translation, intellectual property, health data, how do you commercialize data? How do you value an idea? How do you put a value on an innovation? And then different sort of models for how you commercialize different ideas. So like selling a service, licensing, startups, and elsewhere. So again, just really looking at the commercialization process. What happens in a university and what happens in a university technology transfer office, and how does it work with research scientists? Module number 2. And this is taught by, I can't pronounce your surname, Sarah, Professor Sarah Rankin. So learning how to communicate cutting-edge scientific research in a way that connects with diverse audiences. I do a lot of pitch training, and I think probably one of the most important skills that people don't talk about enough is communication, the ability to communicate clearly and simply to a diverse range of audiences. And interestingly, the more scientific the subject, or the more that you've spent a career in research science, actually can create a number of barriers when it comes to really clear, articulate communication. So really helping you to understand, how do you take quite complicated, complex ideas, and how do we sort of frame them in a way that makes them immediately come to life and immediately accessible. So things like creative storytelling and like storyboarding techniques and technologies, how we visualize big data, not gig data, big data, and graphical abstracts. Use of AI and social media in science communication, really interesting sort of subject. Communication for science policy, and then also doing sort of interdisciplinary projects with artists and creatives and thinking about science and media. So again, a really rich mix of topics. And then finally, finally, you get me, unfortunately. So learning how to generate and test solutions to pressing bioscience problems. So really thinking about what is entrepreneurship and where do ideas come from? So we'll look at what is an entrepreneur? How do we define entrepreneurs? What are the stereotypes? What does it actually mean? Looking at, if you want to be entrepreneurial or take an idea forward in a large company or a small company, you've got to work in a team. And often we don't necessarily get taught how to work in teams. So we really start to look at what are the characteristics of a functioning team? What are the dysfunctions of a team? How do we manage the complex web of relationships in a team? Look at how we identify and spot problems, and then how we generate and assess and choose potential solutions. If we do have an idea, how do we identify and map critical assumptions within that idea? And then finally, looking at the process of entrepreneurial experimentation. How do we design simple tests and experiments that we can kind of start to validate or explore our idea in the real world? So that's kind of just a quick deep dive into term one. In terms of how it's taught, so it's a mix of online content and face-to-face delivery. So we use a sort of learning platform called Incendi. It was developed at Imperial College London. It's a spin-out of Imperial College London, a really cool digital platform. So a lot of online content that you can access throughout the sort of term. And then on the flip side, we have these sort of dynamic, like face-to-face workshops, interactive workshops, activities and debates in the classroom. So kind of learning resources posted on Incendi, but then where we really get to roll our sleeves up and get to grips with the topics in the classroom. It's an inclusive teaching model, so there are no exams. I think, repeat that, there are no exams, but it is around sort of authentic creative assessments that are designed around developing and testing key employability skills. So, for example, writing a report that critically assesses commercialization strategy. Thinking about how you would actually put together an activity that would engage non-scientists in a kind of particular bioscience topic. Delivering a mini symposium, around some kind of bioscience foresight. Pitching and prototyping new solutions for real-world bioscience problems. So actually coming up with a slide deck or a pitch deck and kind of communicating that, as well as like maybe starting to think about a sustainable, ethical commercialization strategy or business plan. So really thinking about assessments that are going to serve you well when you transition beyond the course and start to think about, in getting into the outside world and like pursuing the career that comes next. For the work placement-based projects, you have an opportunity to work in a tech transfer office, so maybe an Imperial. You can work in a startup or a spin-out company. You can even work on your own startup idea or your own venture. Or you might kind of have another idea for some kind of work placement-based project. So again, there's lots of flexibility there, but you have the opportunity to pick a placement project that you're particularly well suited to or passionate about. So there's lots of flexibility there. And then in terms of how that's assessed, so over the course of that placement, you'll do a sort of a journal or a log, and then sort of write a report on your experiences and then present at the end of that. So it's all about reflecting on your practice and your experiences, like critically reflecting, then presenting back what you've learned, how you've changed as a result of that experience. Right, so that's just the course, but you might not know this, or you might know this all too well. Imperial has an incredible entrepreneurship and innovation ecosystem. I've worked here for the last 7 years. It's been the highlight of my career, and I genuinely, hand on heart, would say that this has got the best innovation ecosystem of any other university in the UK, and I think it's globally significant. So there's an incredible range of initiatives, facilities, services. I'm responsible for one, the Imperial Enterprise Lab, that you can make use of whilst you're at Imperial. So there's an incredible array of extracurricular learning opportunities outside of the MSc Bioscience Futures that you automatically get access to. Just to give you, this is a very complicated, but actually to give you a sense of just how many, so each circle is an area of support, how much activity there is at college to support early stage ideas and innovators. And just the Enterprise Lab, which is at the center there, we probably run about 20 different support services and initiatives over the course of a year. And that's everything from before you've even had an idea, you might just want to come to community events and just meet people, you might have had an idea, you might want to explore it further. Well, then there's a whole range of things that we can plug in around you. You also have things like the advanced hack space. You've got the White City Incubator. There is literally a diverse ecosystem of support services for innovators and entrepreneurs. So I talked a little bit about the Imperial Enterprise Lab. So we're currently coming to you live and direct from our basement in South Kensington. So we've got a really cool co-working space. We, I think, offer over, say, 20 sort of support services. Just one of those is experts in residence. We have over 100 different experts in every topic field you can think of. So you can book 30 minutes of free advice with any one of those. And by being on the course, you automatically get access to experts in residence. We also have our, I guess, sibling, sister, brother institution out at White City, the Imperial College Advanced Hack Space. So again, you get access to that, and there you can actually go and prototype your ideas, either 3D printing. It's got a bio hacking space. There's a huge array of facilities that you can get access to by dint of the fact that you're at Imperial. Just something about career paths. You know, so effectively you leave this program not only with a fantastic grounding in education, but also with the skills that you really need to move on and achieve whatever you want to do going next. So you might want to start your own company. You might want to go and work in actual commercial, you know, in the world of commercialization in a tech transfer office, working directly with research academics. You might want to go and work in a new startup bioscience or biotech company. You might want to go and work in science communications or work in policy or engagement. But fundamentally, regardless of where you want to go next, we want to ensure that you've got the practical skills that you need to really kind of set yourself apart from the competition and really be able to achieve what you want to be able to do. How to apply? Applications are open. Those are the costs. Not much more to say than that. I'm sure you can ask us questions in a moment. The interview process. So again, applications are open. It is, I think Sarah can talk to this maybe a little bit more around the interview process.
Yes, happy to do that. So there is an assessment during the interview, and you get a choice of assessments, either a 3-minute presentation or creating a graphical abstract around a specific paper that will be sent to you. And you'll have, I think it's a week to do that. And the interviews are carried out on MS Teams by myself. Yeah, and just to finish what Ben was saying, I think, you know, apart from this being, we're very excited about this masters, and we know it's going to be a great masters. But just to say that Imperial itself, we are very happy because it has been announced just the end of last week that Imperial is #2 in the rankings in the world globally and #1 in Europe. So it is a really fantastic university. We have incredibly high employability rates. So students that come to do a master's at Imperial, 97% of them are in employment within 15 months. So that is a really high success rate. And so yes, it's just amazing place to be here. And a lot of people like myself come to Imperial and never leave because everybody says, well, where would you go? Where would you go that's better if you're a scientist? So
I couldn't agree more.
I just love to welcome your questions now.
Brilliant. Thanks, Sarah. And maybe I should have led with that. #2 in the world. Like, why should you come here? We're #2 in the world. It truly is an amazing place. So yeah, questions.
Yeah, and while we're waiting for questions, I think the other thing, the number of people. So Ben mentioned the experts that you can contact, but we have so many brilliant people coming here and talking. And you know, just a few weeks back, you had Tom Blomfield, from the founder of Monzo, come and talk. But those are the type of people that we will sort of get in the room for you to be able to chat to and hear from their sort of experiences. So have we got any questions, Alice, at the moment?
No, we haven't received any question yet. So if anyone has any questions, please feel free. Yeah, we have just received one. So Rachel asked, she wondered if they are responsible for sourcing a work placement for the final term. So
okay, so I can talk to that. So we will be offering a number of specific work placements, but some of the people that I have interviewed already have said, oh, I'm interested in becoming a consultant, or I'm interested in becoming a sort of investor, and so a sort of investor in biotech companies. And so for what I've said to everybody is, let us know what it is that you're looking for when you start the course, because then we can reach out via all our contacts to try and identify places for you if you don't have somewhere specific that you want to go already. So it's really a combination of either go with something that we have on our list that is, say one of the startups at Imperial might be, we will have some of the startups offering opportunities, or there will be opportunities with the social society and engagement team, for example, or the communications team. So we will have opportunities based in Imperial. We will also have opportunities based in other places around London through our contacts, etc.
Thank you, Sarah. And we received another question from Junwon. He said, hi, thank you for an informative session. A question I had was, do we have an opportunity to learn about programming languages during the course?
No, that isn't something that we specifically cover, but it might be something that you could, there might be opportunities to do that through one of the courses that is offered by Imperial. I don't know that specifically. I don't know if anybody else on the call knows that.
Yeah, so no, not directly as part of the course. There are other courses being run at Imperial all the time. So again, look at additional courses that are kind of being taught at Imperial. The other thing is student societies. So there might be opportunities with various student societies that you can join, meet people in particular areas. So even if it's not being dealt with directly in this course, it's Imperial, and there are a huge number of courses ongoing in societies and people who are passionate about lots of different things. So you'll be able to kind of like find your people or find people that can help you. So I'd just maybe, if that's really key for you, I'd maybe just encourage you to do a little bit more research, and maybe just in terms of other courses, but also what are the student societies and what student bodies are there, because that might be kind of really useful to you.
Yeah. Imperial has more student societies and clubs than any other university in the UK, by the way. I didn't know that. I was told that. That we also have a postgraduate school, and what the postgraduate school does, it offers courses for master's students and PhD students that are on top of their MSc, or when they're studying for a PhD. So they also, that looking up the Imperial Postgraduate School is also interesting, because they offer a lot of different courses, and even opportunities to go other places and do things.
Right, there's some more questions I can see. I'm going to jump in on the next two questions. Will there be any support to start my own business in the bioscience area? Yes, loads is a simple answer. So Imperial Enterprise Lab, you will not want for extracurricular support when it comes to setting up a business. So not only do we have a range of different competitions and programs, so Venture Catalyst Challenge it's got a £100,000 prize fund. It's the biggest university-based entrepreneurship competition in terms of the prize fund. We Innovate, which is it's going to have its 10th anniversary this year. So it's a competition dedicated to supporting women-led startups. Amazing competition. So you've got like really interesting programs. There's loads of online learning modules. There are experts. We have a network of over 100 mentors and coaches. So like, I know I gave a bit of a blithe answer, like, of course, we can genuinely support people who want to start their own businesses. So please do not have any doubt about that. Next question, which was, are students taught about financial aspects of pitching and starting up companies, e.g. DCS, which I think means discounted cash flows, maybe? Yes, of course. One of the great things about the Enterprise Lab is one of our latest members of the team is a head of investment services. So effectively, it's a member of the team who works with later stage startups and gets them ready or gets them an investor ready. And that really involves getting into the financial modeling and thinking about all of the things they need to have in place in order to be credible to an investor audience. So again, not, the sort of detailed financial aspects of starting up a venture, not as important in the really early stages, but as an idea develops, no, it becomes critical. And yes, we can support on that as well. So the next question was around, do we have a master's thesis to write? I'm going to hand that over to someone else.
Yeah. So, no, well, you have 5,000 words, and it's not a thesis. So it's not a thesis in the same way as it's more a report of about your sort of work experience. So it's not the same as a thesis, and we will go into that. But it is a 5,000 word report to see what you have accomplished and how you've sort of developed your skill sets during that process. And I was going to just mention, in terms of entrepreneurship, I mean, the Enterprise Lab, well, the students that go through the programs of the Enterprise Lab have been incredibly successful. So in terms of winning national and international competitions and getting funding, so there's a huge amounts of support available. And this was one of the motivations for setting this up as a master's, because we really want, we know that a lot of students do entrepreneurship as a sort of side hobby to doing their central studies, and we wanted to really embed it in the master's program and give students as much time as they want to sort of really engage in entrepreneurship activity. And that doesn't mean that everybody doing this program is going to do that. Some people will be more like myself, who's an intrapreneur, more an entrepreneur, so who develops their ideas and activities within an organization. Going on for a few other of the questions. So scholarships available, there is, but the deadline has passed. So anybody that has submitted a scholarship application, we are actually processing those at the moment. How would you say the course yeah, so the ones at Cambridge and UCL, and this again was why we wanted to develop one, because obviously we did our market research. The ones at Cambridge and UCL, they are, for example, biotechnology, and then they have modules from the business school attached to the MSc programs, as far as I can see. And when we looked at what the business school offered, it wasn't really really fit for purpose for bioscience students. And in fact, when we looked at people that do, for example, innovation entrepreneurship in the business school, that's very much the theory. This is very much the practical side of it. This is actually, how do you do it, and how do you do it in the biosciences? So not sort of from a theory point of view. So I'd say that. And also, obviously now, why should you do it rather than Cambridge and UCL? Well, as I've said, Imperial is better than Cambridge and UCL. We now know that. So that's why you should do it at Imperial. Are there any other mini group projects? Oh my gosh, yes. Yes. So there's a lot of group work, and some of the assessments will be group activity. And I know there's some students are quite resistant to this initially. But it's the reality of how you work in the real world. And so that's why, it's really important for us to help you to work effectively in teams, essentially, and get the best, you know, all because that's a really important skill going forward. Other questions? How, from the people here, are there any of you that have already applied for the course, that are considering? Okay, so if you're interested in a PhD, this isn't really the, you know, this is obviously the meeting is about master's courses. Imperial does have some presidential scholarships for PhD students, so I would look at that, the president scholarships, and they would obviously start in a year's time. I think they're over for this year. What funding opportunities? You need to clarify. We don't, as I said, the scholarships are over. You know, if you haven't applied for a scholarship, there isn't one available now. So I'm not sure.
Just on the next question, Sarah, whilst Rachel's
Yeah.
that. So will there be opportunities to engage with industry leaders in additional to it? Yeah, absolutely. So I think, as Sarah already said, we have regular speakers coming to Imperial all the time. If you are exploring your own entrepreneurial idea, then it's likely you are going to have to, in a sort of self-directed way, go out and approach people in industry. So we give you, so there are lots of opportunities to meet with industry leaders, just because it's Imperial and there's loads of events, but also we give you the support you need to actually reach out and make the connections that you need to make. And also we have our own extensive network, right? So we can introduce you to people as well, depending on what the project is. So lots and lots of opportunities to engage with people working in industry or in the sort of startup world or ecosystem beyond the college.
Yeah, we've got, I mean, I even just looking at my PhD students, you know, one of them is global head of innovation for UCB Pharma. So, you know, there's an industry leader, and another one is very high up in Pfizer. So, you know, just among our own students, we've got industry leaders, our own past students. Applications for the course opened in January, somebody asked. No research, there's no sort of lab research. This is a very different type of masters. We're focusing on, as we said, entrepreneurship and innovation and communication, which is essential for both of those things, and also can lead to a career on its own.
I think we're almost, unless there's any final questions. Otherwise, we can sit here awkwardly for the next 5 minutes. But how intensive is the course, Sarah? Will there be time to have a part-time?
So thanks for asking that, because we really did consider this. And my co-director and I have been involved in I've set up another master course, which is hugely successful. And so we took all our learnings from running master's course and feedback we've got from students, and we are well aware of, for example, how expensive it is to live in London, and that some people may not want to live in London. So what we have done with this course is we have designed it such there are 3 on-site teaching days a week, and that is going to be the same every week. So it will be on a Monday, Tuesday, and a Thursday. So you will have every Wednesday off, every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday off, obviously. And so the reason we've designed it like that is for students that might have other commitments, might need to work some of the time, etc. And that's also why, you know, in those days, in the days when you're not at college, there will be some online work, but you can do that as and when you want to. So whenever you want to fit it in. So what we've done for what we have decided to do in terms of where it's going to be, we're going to have 2 days on the South Kent campus. Anne's going to answer that question because we are waiting for confirmation, but yes, Anne.
So definitely, as Sarah says, definitely South Kent and White City. There may be some sessions at the Royal Brompton campus, but it's only less than 10 minutes down the road from South Kensington. So it's not going to be a big component of it, but just to be aware of that. Yeah,
and I specifically, although I love the South Kent campus because I love South Kensington and it's a very nice part of London, White City is getting very exciting. And there's a lot of cool stuff going on in the White City campus. This is Imperial's sort of newer second campus. It's where we have the scale space. It's where all the sort of advanced hack spaces and where a lot of the startups are. And so we have booked in for one session, a 1 day a week in that space, just because it's a cool space. And there is a shuttle bus that runs between the two campuses, so you can, as students, go between two campuses, but there will be no going between campuses on, during the day, for example. Once you'll either be at the White City campus or you'll be at the South Kent campus. Is it possible to find work as an international student? I'd say yes.
I can take this one actually, Sarah. Yeah, it is possible. I think you're limited to 20 hours a week that you're permitted to work, and there's a few things that it depends on, i.e. you need to be on your student visa, and your entry clearance visa in your passport or your BRP confirms that you are able to work.
Thank you, Alice. I didn't know. I know that students do it, so I'm assuming they can. A copy of the PowerPoint. We've recorded this, so it's going to go up somewhere. Is it, Alice?
Yes, we will be sending the recording of this information session to all those who have attended after this event. Yeah.
Yeah, looking forward to welcoming you.
Brilliant. I'm just waiting to see if there's normally. Oh yeah, here we go. What are you looking for in the application statement, Sarah and Anne?
I think the application, for those of you that are having interviews, I do make it very clear what the course is like. The reason, the assessment that you do before the interview gives you an idea of the types of things that you're going to be doing during the course. So it's a good way. If you don't enjoy doing that, then don't come on the course, because it's probably not for you. What we're trying to get is people that are a really good fit for the course. And so it's just somebody, we're looking for somebody that's enthusiastic. You don't have to want to be an entrepreneur. It's entrepreneurial skills that you're going to develop, which are going to be very good 21st century career skills all rounder. You might have a specific interest. I'm very done a lot of work in terms of societal engagement of science and communication. So that's another area that you could be for example, specifically interested in. I think you're going to learn more than you can imagine on this course.
And just on that, so like people tend to sometimes think entrepreneurship is just purely about business, and you know, obviously it's a large component of it, but I do at a higher level, I think entrepreneurship to me, it's about, you have an idea, right? We all have ideas all the time. How do I actually make that idea real? And that could be in my own company, but it could be as a project in a large organization, or it could be for some kind of event or symposium. So it's really about those practical skills that enable you to leverage your academic excellence, your technical education to actually achieve things and make things happen. And that's, so I always see entrepreneurship as a quite a high level, rather than it being all about startups. Like those skills are essential, whatever you want to do, whatever kind of domain or context you're moving into.
Yeah, I mean, at the moment I'm doing a course which I'm hoping to bring into some of this masters, and it's from somebody who has worked for the World Health Organization, and it's about living systems thinking. And so systems thinking, again, is a very high level sort of skill set. And so being able to understand what systems thinking is, you know, yes, you can apply that if you're an entrepreneur, but you will be able to apply that in any business, and any business is going to be impressed that you know and can, you know, you have an understanding of what systems thinking is, for example. How many places are available? I want a relatively small cohort this year. I don't want to have huge numbers, because I like it to be everybody to be able to get more involved. It's a much better experience, I think, for students. So I want to limit it to sort of definitely under 30 students. Decisions, they're made straight after your interview, and you usually receive notice of that within a few days after your interview. And we're doing quite a lot of interviews at the moment. So it's most people have just finished their degree courses, and so they're now you know, applying to us, and we sort of, this is the time of year when we get a lot of applications. Any other? We'll just talk among ourselves for a second, in case anybody else has anything else that they are thinking. And if you happen to be in London this weekend, it's the Imperial College Festival, or what they call now the Great Exhibition Road Festival. And this is a festival for anybody to come to. It's free. It's obviously for the public, open on Saturday and Sunday. So Imperial will be open, showcasing lots of its science. And there will be activities also going on in the sort of, you know, other museums around us. So yeah, if you fancy coming and having a look what the campus looks like. Yes, so at the moment there's a mix. There's definitely a mix of So the question is, will the cohort be a mix of people straight out of undergrad and people who have graduated for some time? There are a few people that have just done a few years, several years of work after their degree. I know that for certain out of the people that have say that we have offered places to at the moment. And yeah, it's interesting. Those people have said they've been looking for something like this, and now they found the perfect masters.
Well, thanks, everyone. I hope we've answered all of your questions. If we haven't, I'm sure you can still contact us and email. I definitely look forward to seeing you all in the Enterprise Lab at Imperial, starting on later this year. It is genuinely an amazing program. We've spent a long time thinking about this. We finally get the opportunity to launch the degree, and we're all like super excited to actually get stuck in and to start kind of teaching you all and showing you how amazing the opportunities are at Imperial and kind of for whatever comes next. So thank you.
Yes, thanks everyone, and hopefully you will sort of secure your offers if you already have an offer, and if not, I hope to see you in an interview in the next sort of 2 or 3 weeks.